All right, everyone. Well, with that, it's 5 o'clock, so we'll convene the Michigan City Park Board meeting for Wednesday, February 2nd, 2022. Shannon, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Latchford,
Here.
Mr. Freeze,
Here.
Mr. Lang,
Here.
Mrs. Sperling.
Here.
Thank you. All right, the minutes from our January 19th meeting were prepared and presented in advance of tonight's meeting. So unless there are any changes or corrections, do we have a motion to approve?
I move to accept the minutes as printed from January 19th meeting.
I'll second.
Mr. Freeze,
Yes.
Mr. Lang,
Yes.
Mr. Latchford,
Yes.
Mrs. Sperling.
Yes.
The motion carries.
All right, any project updates tonight?
There are none.
All right, any old business to attend to?
No, sir.
All right, we'll move into new business, and I guess we'll take acceptance of the quote for the tree work at the golf course. Motion to take it off the table.
I would move that we take the quote for golf course tree work off the table.
I'll second that.
Mr. Freeze,
Yes.
Mr. Lang,
Yes.
Mr. Latchford,
Yes.
Mrs. Sperling.
Yes.
The motion carries.
So what we have here is these were presented to the park board at our last meeting, and we made a motion to allow Shannon and Ed to review the quotes and bring a recommendation to us tonight. So with that, I'll turn it over to Shannon and or Ed.
Yes, this is the agreement between Michigan City and a tree cutting service at the golf course. And it was brought to my attention that having two contractors' prices, because the third bid came in late, we're looking at Greenleaves Tree Service and John's Tree Service. John's Tree Service came in at the lower bid. Greenleaves came in quite a bit higher at $7,195 more. But it was brought to my attention that Greenleaves would be the contractor to choose based on a project that occurred in 2016 with John's, where there was some difficulties that created maybe some problems at the end of the project. And it was highly recommended by some golf director and officials at the golf course that we choose Greenleaves Tree Service. And my background observing Greenleaves is such that they are very capable, and I would agree with that recommendation of the golf course director.
Any questions for the superintendent?
No.
Ed, I'm going to need a little more information to be able to accept a bid that's 27% higher than the low bid.
Well, I could get into some documentation that I really wanted to forward to all of you folks, but with the weather and the director's illness, I was able to obtain this documentation that I can share with you. I have here an action timeline from the project in 2016, and I'm finding that there were some problems with the project that ended with an amount of money that was retained and not paid because of certain work that was not completed. The work was not completed on time, so there was a penalty because of that. I have a list here of some problems that occurred towards the end. We had this contractor ended up with a broken power line at the golf course on a dusk to dawn light, damaged metal trim to the cart storage building, certain trees that were changed to trim only. Let's see if I can see certain trees. Well, approximately 50 stumps were not ground to the contract depth of 14 inches below grade.
Wow.
And I do have documentation from the attorney at that time that clearly states that these problems occurred. So with the recommendation of the golf course director, and the quality of work that I've seen Jason and Greenleaves produce, I would highly recommend them if that's enough information.
Thank you, Ed. That additional information was very helpful. Any other questions or comments from the board?
Is there an opportunity to ask Greenleaves if that's their lowest bid, or once the bids are in, that's it? Or, okay.
Did someone answer that question for you, Diane?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
I nodded. Since we're on overview, I could probably, yeah. That's part of the whole bid process, which it tries to be open and transparent, and you can't renegotiate without giving everyone an opportunity to renegotiate.
True. Okay.
So any questions from the public tonight? I don't see any out there. If not,
Excuse me, Phil.
yes?
Would I be considered a member of the public now, or when I comment, when do I comment?
I would welcome your comments anytime, Brian. So when asking for board comment or public comment, whenever you would like to comment, you're welcome to.
Okay, all right. I'm just trying to figure out where I come in.
All right. We typically don't have many public comment at all, but whenever, Brian, you're welcome to comment. But thank you for asking. No.
Applaud the fact that you guys are the most responsible bidder. And everybody, always runs to the lowest bidder, but I remember this is coming back to me now. We always used to be the most responsible bidder. You guys are continuing to keep that up, and that's the best way to do business. So happy to see that. Thank you, Phil.
Brian. Thank you. If there are no other questions or comments, we have a motion to accept the quote for golf course tree work for Greenleafs Tree Service.
After the explanation and the questions and answers, I would move that we accept Greenleaf Tree Service for tree work at the golf course in the amount of $33,170.
I'll second.
Mr. Freeze,
Yes?
Mr. Lang,
Yes.
Mr. Latchford,
Yes.
Mrs. Sterling.
Yes.
And President Latchford, can I make a quick comment? The city council awarded the Parks Department $100,000 in capital improvements for this project. So I just wanted to note that the remaining balance of this will revert back to the city. I just think that's important to note. And hopefully if we have future projects coming up, that money would be available to be allocated again.
Very good. Thank you for pointing that out, Shannon.
You're welcome.
Next up is to award the contract for the golf course tree work. And I see it has been prepared and I assume reviewed by Ms. Nuremberg. Is that a good assumption?
Yes, it is.
Sorry, I'm on mute. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the board in regard to the contract?
No.
All right. Any questions from anyone else? Seeing none, do we have a motion to approve do you have a motion to approve the contract for golf course tree work to Greenleafs Tree Service?
I would move that we accept this agreement between the park department and the contractor, which is the Greenleaf Tree Service for professional work done at the golf course.
I'll second it.
Mr. Freeze,
Yes?
Mrs. Sperling,
Yes.
Mr. Latchford,
Yes.
Mr. Lang.
Yes.
The motion carries.
All right. The next item is the 2022 Golf Course Professional Independent Contractor Agreement. We'll need a motion to take this off the table.
I would move that we take the agreement for service as a golf professional off the table.
I'll second.
Mr. Freeze,
Yes?
Mr. Lang,
Yes.
Mr. Latchford,
Yes.
Mrs. Sperling.
Yes.
The motion carries.
All right. So this was presented and tabled at our last meeting for, it wasn't ready for our review at that time. So if Shannon and or Ed would like to let us know what's happening with this and to point out any changes from the previous agreement.
Yes, sir. This agreement between Park Department and the independent contractor professional at the golf clubhouse was reviewed and approved by Ms. Nurnberg. There are no changes to speak of other than the dates have been changed. And you can, if your agreement has the signature of the professional, Mr. Magnuson, then you'll see he is in agreement with it as well. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Ed. Any questions or comments about the agreement?
Mr. Latchford, if I could, please.
Sure.
I have a multitude of friends who play golf and come in contact with Chris numerous times throughout the year, and I have not heard one negative comment about the way he runs the golf course and how he goes about business. So I would, if we're ready, I could make a motion now. It sounds to me like he's doing a great job.
Thank you, Phil. Any other questions or comments? Any questions or comments from anyone else? Public? Seeing none. Phil, was that in the form of a motion?
I will make that in form of motion that to the agreement for services of the golf professional as printed.
I'll second.
Mr. Freeze,
Yes.
Mr. Lang,
Yes.
Mr. Latchford,
Yes.
Mrs. Spurling.
Yes.
The motion carries.
Very good. Wish Chris good luck out there this summer. Moving right on to new business, we have the Trail Creek MOU for the 2022 baseball season.
I'll report on that. This is the same MOU as last year. And the understanding is that Trail Creek will give us use of Nelson and Condon Park. There's 2 fields at each park. Park Department is responsible for preparation of the fields and porta pot services. This has been sent to Trail Creek for approval. However, they're still working out of their homes and not their office. So it might take a couple months before it's signed and brought back to you, but there were no changes other than the dates.
Very good. Thank you, Shannon. Any questions or comments from the board? See none. Any questions or comments from the public? Seeing none, do we have a motion to approve the MOU with the Trail Creek baseball?
I would move that we accept the memorandum of understanding between the city and Trail Creek.
I'll second it.
Mr. Freeze,
Yes.
Mrs. Spurling,
Yes.
Mr. Latchford,
Yes.
Mr. Lang.
Yes.
The motion carries.
All right, the next item is the Michigan City Municipal Band 2022 schedule.
Okay, this is our annual request from the municipal band. Just to remind everyone, typically they practice on Tuesday nights and their concerts are held on Thursday nights at 7:30. The concerts are free. Parking fees apply if you don't have a sticker. So they're asking to start their schedule for rehearsal on May 26th and end on August 16th. Typically, they do the concert closest to the 4th of July at the old bandstand, but that will be under renovation this year. So they'll hold that at the amphitheater as well. They're great partners, and I would highly recommend the board approves their schedule.
Thank you, Shannon.
You're welcome.
Any questions or comments from the board?
Just a comment, I'm glad to see that August the 11th, there'll be a concert. I'm chairman of our reunion committee, and this will be reunion number 62 years from high school, and we always meet there on Thursday, and us old timers really enjoy it. We're not many in number any longer, but I'm glad to see we'll be able to attend.
That is good news, Phil. Any other questions or comments? All right, right, if not, do we have a motion to approve the Michigan City Municipal Band 2022 schedule?
I so move that we accept the 2022 Michigan City Municipal Band Summer Calendar in their 154th season, which is amazing.
Second.
Okay.
Mr. Lang,
Yes.
Mr. Freeze,
Yes.
Mr. Blatchford,
Yes.
Mrs. Spurling.
Yes.
The motion carries.
Any other new business that we have to attend to?
No, sir.
All right, we'll move right into the superintendent's report then. Ed?
Thank you, Mr. President. This evening, I will report on the splash pad and the possible opening in the future, the zoo, the golf courses, and the maintenance staff. The splash pad. I've lately had a meeting with some mechanical engineers from Gasvada Mechanical Suppliers. We would like to convert, as a city, we would like to convert, or as the park department, this splash pad from a closed chemical system to an open potable water flow system. So we're sitting down with some meetings to coordinate the following, which would be Woodruff and Sons, who were in charge of the underground and construction of the underground. Water department will be sitting in with us, sanitary district, Haas Engineering, and the state. The state will have to decide whether or not we'll need a backup chlorination system. This is an interesting project because it is costly for the chemicals and it's difficult to find certified attendants to operate the splash pad. So this might be a good thing for the city to bring the splash pad back, and I'll report to you in the next meeting and I'll update you on the progress. The zoo. The employees at the zoo sat in the council meeting last night and answered questions pertaining to our request to fill a position of a full-time zookeeper. I think the council reacted very positively, and this will move to the second reading. So we're looking forward to adding that position at the zoo to eliminate some of the strains on the existing employees. The golf courses. The maintenance crew is wrapping up the mechanical miracle they perform every winter by disassembling greens cutting machines. I think there might be 5 of those. While these machines are in pieces, all of the parts are conditioned. The blades are ground to perform the magic of cutting the greens to millimeters in length. If you ever run into these guys that work on these machines, let them know you appreciate that their work improves your putting ability. The maintenance staff. I guess a lot of you were out shoveling snow and it was so beautiful, except for Bryant. But our maintenance staff was out blading the snow at 4 in the morning. They're helping the street department with the smaller roads and the dead ends. We did have one truck break down. You know that we are hurting a little bit with equipment, but we have some on order. So much of this snow is not only bladed, but we actually removed some of the snow in areas it piles up. So this staff has been working very hard removing snow. It happens to be the few snow removals in the last few weeks were all weekends. So that really affects their schedules, but they're hanging in there. A little bit of mower maintenance is going on in between that activity. And also Patriot Park has been checked on and all is good in Patriot Park. So that's my report for this evening. I will say that I had to close down the senior center due to the weather. So tomorrow it will be closed as well. And that is my report for the night. Thank you.
Thank you, Ed. Any questions for the superintendent?
Ed, I just have one question. In your explanation of what's going on with the splash pad, I remember you and I had talked one time, and you said that there was some difficulty with people doing repair work in the I believe it was maybe the pump room because of the dangerous level of carbon monoxide that could possibly occur there. Is that one of the problems that will be corrected with everything else that you had reported on?
Yes, in fact, when you have a closed system like we currently have there is a pit that has to be entered by an employee. And now that OSHA has found new regulations for cities to abide by, there is a need for equipment to make sure that persons in the pit are not overcome by fumes. So this type of system that we would like to go to, which is an open system, would bring potable water into the system, and we will not be using chemicals or possibly not even entering this pit. But I can find out exactly if that pit will be abandoned or not.
Thank you. Appreciate the explanation.
Ed, we've had in the past some problems with finding individuals. I don't know if it's a license that you have to have or some kind of certificate for the chemical balance of the splash pad. It was kind of a bugaboo when we first opened. Do we have, and two questions, do we have any people on board that are certified to work these chemicals, or have they become a little more lenient with the strict guidelines of the chemicals? And if not, is there any place where individuals could go and receive training?
Well, Shannon, correct me if I'm wrong. Our employee named Chris Kaufman has just recertified his license for this splash park, and I'm not quite sure if it's for the chemicals, but if we can open this splash park and convert it to the open system, we will not be using chemicals. So we'll be able to use a seasonal employee to tend to the splash pad, but not have to be certified with any chemicals at all.
Thank you.
President Latchford, if I could add to that, the state health department requires that there is a certified pool technician on staff. It doesn't have to be the operator of the facility. In fact, I was a certified pool technician for, I think, 5 years. Jeremy Keenitz was, Chris Kaufman. So we kind of rotated and overlapped 2 years. It cost about $800 for the park department to get someone certified. The kind of downfall of that system is that person does not have to be in charge of that splash park, nor operating it, nor training the staff that uses the system. So there's not a lot of checks and balances there. So Chris Kaufman is certified, I believe, 4 more years. He'll hold his pool certification. But then we come into the problem of finding a seasonal employee to train. It's a very, very complex system. I've been through it many times. If I had to go in there with my certification and run it, there's no way I could. It takes weeks and weeks and weeks to train someone. And since it's not a full-time operation, to try to get a seasonal in there, it's difficult for the department.
So to answer Phil's question, we will be attempting to convert this system where we will not be using chemicals. So we will not need a certified operator.
I do believe, and I'm not sure about this, but we need to research it. I do believe because the health department considers it a pool operation, that we would still need that. So we need to look into that. It's a zero depth facility but our county health department considers it a pool. So I'm not sure what the restrictions or qualifications would be for someone to run it at that time. Do we still need a certified employee? We may.
So Ed, you can see there are going to be a lot of questions. So I'd imagine before this comes before the park board, you'll do a complete cost analysis of what it costs to convert it and then what it costs to operate it in its current state and in your proposed state, so we can make a full analysis of what the right decision will be.
Very good. I will, Phil.
Thank you. Any other questions for Ed about the superintendent's report? Ed, yeah, Brian, please.
Yeah, I was just wondering, when is the expected conversion to happen? Would be ready for this summer, possibly?
I have not been able to get an answer. That was a question that was approached to me, and I have not been able to get an answer because there's going to be quite a bit of work involved in this conversion.
That's what I thought.
Maybe by next board meeting, I might have an answer for that.
Okay, not a problem. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Ed, any vandalism to report?
There is, Mr. President. We've had people doing, as you know, people like to do donuts in the parking lots in the wintertime on the snow, but now they've moved into the Fetters Alley area in the green space. So that is not good for the grass, and hopefully someday I'm looking into some type of security in Washington Park, and that might put a stop to this. But that's all the vandalism has been reported to me.
Thank you, Ed.
Mm-hmm.
We'll move on to liaison reports. I'm the Planning Commission liaison, and there has not been a meeting since our last meeting. So we'll move on to the Port Authority. Mr. Freeze?
I thought there was a meeting, but the only people who showed up were the Coast Guards and myself, so no, I have no report.
All right, thank you. And the Zoological Society, Mr. Lang.
Yeah, the Zoological Society will have their first meeting of the year next Tuesday, February the 8th. So at our next meeting, I should be able to give you a report on what is going on with the society.
Great, thank you. Ms. Nierenberg, anything at the attorney's report tonight?
No, I have nothing to report. Thank you.
Thanks. Any director's reports tonight?
There are none.
All right, that takes us right to Department Finances. Mr. Lang, please.
Alrighty, Michigan City Park Department claims docket for February the 2nd, 2022. Municipal, $28,881.22. Golf petty cash, none. Zoo endowment, none. Total claims to $28,881.22. And I so move that we recognize the claims docket for February the 2nd, 2022.
Second?
Mr. Lang?
Yes.
Mr. Freeze?
Yes.
Mr. Latchford?
Yes.
Mrs. Spurling?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Next is payroll number 2 with a pay date of January 28th, 2022. A total payroll of $48,085.54. And I so move that we accept payroll number 2 for 2022.
Second?
Mr. Lang?
Yes.
Mr. Freeze?
Yes.
Mr. Latchford?
Yes.
Mrs. Spurling?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Next, reports of gifts and donations. Washington Park Zoological Society, a zoo donation, Share the Care, $210. Timothy Korn, a zoo donation in the memory of Betty White for $5. A Unity Foundation of LaPorte County, a zoo donation, miscellaneous, $4,249.60. I so move that we accept these gifts and donations.
Second?
Mr. Lang?
Yes.
Mr. Freeze?
Yes.
Mr. Latchford?
Yes.
Mrs. Spurling?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Under minor transfers, there are none at this time. Zoo endowment, none at this time. Board of Works, none at this time. Credit card charges, none at this time. And that ends the financial report.
Thank you, Mr. Lang.
You're very welcome.
Any comments from the public tonight?
There are no people from the public in the audience tonight, Mr. Lowe.
All right. Any other comments tonight from anyone? All right. Our next meeting is Wednesday, February 16th, 5 o'clock. Hopefully in person soon. But until then, I guess we'll do it this way. We have a motion to adjourn.
So move.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for your time tonight.
Thanks,
Have a good
everybody.
evening.
Have a
Thank
great
you.
night.
Stay warm.
Be safe.
Weather.
Yep, stay warm, everybody.
32
Amen.
minutes. 30. I'm just going to keep saying that over and over. 32 minutes. 32 minutes.
Get that shovel warmed up, right?
I don't know what to do with myself. 32 minutes.
All right.
Good night.
Good
Bye.
night.
Bye, everybody.